and the auditor deferred to us to make that decision. So we called this meeting to talk to department heads, kind of get their feedback, answer any questions. Things we can't answer, we'll bring back to the company and get those answers to you. So the first thing that on the onboarding checklist was regarding remote support. What they sent to us, they said for remote support to work, we need an IT contact or IT liaison, as they refer to it. This person should be willing to work with us when we have needs for hands-on piece of equipment. They do not need to be trained in IT or an expert. They just need to be willing and capable to accept instructions from solution staff. So what this means is if they need someone to plug something in or unplug something in or power down something, power it back on, or use a USB and do a remote access. So something like that where you need an actual physical person to do it. It does not need any IT experience at all. So they gave us a couple choices on that. We can either have a dedicated IT liaison per building, a dedicated person per department, or we just have one person that if there's a need where they need someone somewhere that they can do that. So I'm going to open it up to supervisors to see what they think, and then we can ask the department heads what they feel.
It used to be Jeff Nichols, all of us remember that, and we paid him $5,000 a year to do it.
How many years ago was that?
6 probably, Brandy, probably 6 years ago. When I first started.
Right before Jen started.
Yeah, so about six, and it didn't work, so Price and Clifton and I voted to hire Jen because it just didn't work well. It was so inefficient and slow. And it put a lot of load on Jeff, and then he couldn't do the real technical stuff, so they would sit on the phone for 4 days sometimes.
6 years older, so.
So is it possible to have each of the department heads know how to reboot our server, how to do, I mean, to me, each of the department heads should be a contact, right, for their needs. They're going to be submitting requests.
Well, this would only be if they needed like a piece of hardware. So right now, they can call Solutions, and they do so right now. I mean, Jen told us in a meeting that, you know, they're currently, some of them are going around her and calling them directly. So they're already doing that and calling them, so it's an existing process. It would just be eliminating the middleman. The only time the liaison would come into play is if there's an actual physical need for someone to be on site. So plug something in.
So they need a new power cord. There's short cell. So they need a new power cord, and it would come to the department head or whoever they designate, and then that person would get the power cord to you.
If that's how we want it. I mean, could we also do it to where, you know, if something is ordered, because the auditor's office is going to need to know cost and make sure they stay in budget. So the auditor's office can order it kind of like they do with Amazon right now. They can place the order, and either we can have, you know, Chip bring it to the departments when he brings the mail, or we can have it shipped to the department head directly. They're just kind of looking on guidance on how we want to do it.
So we have a couple different scenarios here. As far as sending hardware, I've talked with several department heads, and the consensus was, well, if there's hardware that one of my employees needs, just send it to me.
Okay.
So is that, let's talk about that first. Is that, I know I haven't spoken with all of you, but I've spoken with a big bulk of you. So does that make sense if one of your employees needs something, some hardware, some other IT equipment, that it's sent directly to you as a department head?
Yes. And then you would be responsible for making sure you have the budget, and then you get the billing to the auditors, correct?
So we have a new line item for IT in each department?
No, I think that's where the misunderstanding is.
Yeah.
No. The idea is the quotes still need, the requests need to still go to the auditor's office because they're going to be managing the budget. And then, kind of like you do with Amazon right now, you place the order with them, and it can either come to the auditor's office and they deliver it, or we can send it to a department head, or we can send it to an IT liaison. Sounds like to me they prefer going directly to the department.
I think that's the simplest, fastest way if you have a need, right?
Right.
Just a question on like the billing side of that, which works with Amazon, but we still get the Amazon bill, and then we have to do a claim for it.
So the budgeting.
Would we not ever do a claim then? On just on the IT stuff?
Just on the IT stuff.
Yeah, so we would just we'd submit what we needed, they'd give it to us. and-
Yeah. We'll have to discuss a little bit more if we wanna, down the line, if we wanna do that. Personally, I would like the IT budget to stay as one budget,
Yeah.
just for management purposes, so we can see where all the funds are going, and we know, okay, we need to up this budget for more laptops, or, we'll need a new server, so that kind of stuff, rather than having it dispersed to each departments. I think that's gonna be a lot more work than necessary if we do that.
So the auditor will manage the IT budget. Does that work for you guys? Yes. Okay, and then you want the equipment sent to you. Yeah.
Like,
I would like to continue what secondary roads has been doing forever. Kind of manage your own IT down there.
Okay,
It comes from our budget, the IT budget.
okay.
And the reason why is we have specialized engineering, survey, software. We can sell the equipment, now has specialized stuff.
And are you mixed with some DOT and state? and-
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
So does IT do anything for you other than like providing the internet?
They do not even provide the internet. We provide our own internet down there.
Okay,
IT in the past has helped us with our multi-copy machine, so there's
Okay.
somebody we gotta reach out to there. IT provides us email addresses, I believe there's 35 or 38 of those.
okay, so you're on our network, so
No, we're not on your network.
So where are you getting the IP addresses?
Yeah, we're not, I'm sorry, email addresses.
Okay. Okay.
I misspoke.
All right, that's what.
Email addresses and Microsoft Office packages all come from the old IT department and managing that aspect of it. One of the things that I would recommend for that, at least for the road department, is there's times where we need a password reset, so somebody's gonna have to manage that. Sometimes that's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
Now, not always, but sometimes when we're in snow removal and there's an early shift down there, we have to do that.
now,
I would
we will
recommend-
have 24/7 support with this new plan.
Oh, okay, that would be great. So that type of stuff. The other IT thing that happens is our network or virtual network between our network and the mainframe computer up here and solutions. We will still need to have advice with solutions and or communication between the two networks as things develop. In my cycle here, it seems like about every 8 years, either hardware or software needs to be updated. And there's a work through, usually it's been with solutions
Okay.
where we can,
So
you
you
know,
Are you getting the new emails from Solutions? Are you getting those that's showing you the support and who to, are you getting that?
Yes, we are.
So you're already working with them already?
Yeah, it's just like, just when we have, like I say, between the two networks, and it's just because, well, I guess the roads are always difficult. No, it's just we have a different
It's not-
system. It's different.
It's not unusual to have two
No,
separate lands.
nope, it's just what it is, and it's been like that for forever. But as far as like, that's one reason why we've kind of done it the way we've done down there, whether it's weather related or these large scale projects that we have to get out, they have deadlines. And if a set of plans that has to be sent to the DOT on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, there is no exceptions. So if we have hardware go down, I prefer to have all the engineering desktop computers be the same, and I will gut something out. If the power system goes down, I take it out of one, put it in another, we have a deadline. Because we're dealing with $3 million projects, we don't have time for that, so.
So there's really a lot is not gonna be changing.
No,
with this-
no, no.
With this managed services, other than you're gonna have 24/7.
Yeah,
support.
I just request that we can, 24 hours a day, I guess, I'm assuming there's some, with emails, I'd like to dedicate maybe 3 employees for the road department, because we're dealing with around 38 items of people that, in case somebody's sick or gone or on vacation, that they have authorization to pick up the phone and work through the solutions.
Okay.
So if something goes down now, sorry, and it doesn't work, what are you doing? I mean, just fix it yourself?
Just like before.
You don't use IT?
We do a lot with very little. That's exactly right.
And you have support, for your engineering software.
Yeah, through them.
Otherwise,
Yeah, through
yeah.
the software, but as
Yeah.
far as the hardware, if something goes down, it's me or the other techie type people down there.
Is that a state software?
Which one,
Your engineering?
No, there's a couple different platforms.
So is that what the NRCS uses? Probably
Could be,
some of
I
those?
don't know.
So what we'll do is, once we get, feedback from the department heads, is get a list to them on each department
Yeah.
and how they want it handled. With yours, obviously, in your case, it'll be 3 contacts because of what you do. And the understanding that we need, 24/7 support, and it will probably be utilized mostly by your department.
One thing that we have done in the past too is if there is an old laptop, I'll repurpose it into, let's say, the shop environment, because they don't last very long over there. I hate to spend a lot of money on a new one when dust, oils, those type of things just get dropped or run over. Just happens. As we go forward, I wouldn't mind getting a chance at any used stuff. Maybe this company has a policy where they take it back themselves, I don't know. But over the years, we've had some hand-me-downs that we definitely like to have. It saves us some money.
So do you want all the hand-me-down?
I don't want all of them, but
I know where there's a lot of them.
some of them we can repurpose, and we have. Some of them are beyond repurposing.
I can score you probably 20 old phones.
Yeah.
So right now, we don't lease, we purchase.
Yeah, sure.
So as we go through that, we
Yeah.
can make solutions aware that that's something that. we want to
And that's
do.
something we do in our own department is, our desktop and engineering, we try to repurpose, try to get somewhere between 8 and 10 years out of the system.
That's impressive for,
But you rebuild those.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we crack the cases open and redo them, and otherwise you're kinda in a cycle about every 3rd or 4th year, and it gets to be expensive.
So we've determined that each department head wants to manage their own ordering and receive their own hardware, correct? Is that what we've come to?
So the ordering will be done through the auditor's office?
Well,
You
you'll
would just tell
say
them?
what you need and you'll order it, but make sure you have the budget and everything.
well, for hardware.
Yeah, for hardware.
So if it's a hardware need, you would place the order, but you would still contact Solutions like you normally do for any kind of support. Now, like for instance, if you get a new laptop, we would deliver the laptop, then you'd call Solutions and they would walk you through, because everything will be done remotely over the network. There will be no need for physical touch other than physically plugging in the device.
So because I believe we're on a schedule right now when laptops get switched out. Will there still be a schedule for that, and who's gonna keep track of who has what computers and serial numbers and all that stuff?
Solutions.
Okay.
So part of the onboarding process, and we're not disclosing that to the public because that's IT security stuff, but some of the questions that are asked are, your network infrastructure, your network hardware, MAC addresses, the IP addresses, everything like that, so there's an inventory.
Okay.
So they're also gonna do that with the software. Most of the software they already know because they manage it already, so, which you guys use. So that's part of the onboarding process, is basically understanding that whole thing. Also includes passwords, access, authorization, that type of stuff.
So have you gotten the onboarding checklist information back then from IT?
No,
Okay.
they have until, let's see, I think the 29th was the date Solutions asked to get it back. Yeah, on May 9th, and I think you guys have this document too, on May 29th is when they asked to get all of that back. I wanted to make sure we got the liaison stuff done to them
Yeah.
at least. And then they're gonna make a site visit in the month of June, hopefully before Jen departs, just to kind of get a tour, get a lay of the land, physically look at it. And I did confirm there's no charge for this, Diane, as part of the contract. So,
And then will we be involved in that site visit as a board, or you would?
well, that would be up to what you guys wanna do. I will not be here June 3rd and 4th, so, if that's the date that works best for Jen, then I'd ask maybe, you can do it.
I will be gone the 4th through the
Okay, so I guess you have the short straw for those 2 days.
The fourth through the what?
The third and
I will
fourth.
be gone about the 4th through the 8th. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Oregon.
So, to me, given your background in IT, makes the most sense that you're involved in that site visit. So can we schedule around those dates?
Well, again, I
Potentially.
wanna make sure it's, it works for Jen.
Yeah.
And they also said, even though they prefer the person to be there, it's not required. So, we could probably have Chip show, IT telco closet, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah.
I just-
So if it works best for Jen on June 3rd and 4th, then, we'll give that to you. Any of the other dates will work fine for me.
I don't
Okay.
think Chip and Jen could do this.
Yes, but I wanna know where everything
Because
is.
we're real busy.
I wanna
We
walk
don't-
through regardless.
the cupboards.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, what's good, when we get the information to them on May 29th, they're gonna review the information and then schedule a site visit with Jen.
So it would make sense to me that our inventory, we need it well in advance of the 29th, so that the department heads can look at it and review their equipment, right?
Well,
And their pieces of it?
I mean, they could, I don't know if they're gonna know all I
Yeah.
mean, this is the wrong MAC address, this is the wrong, they're not gonna know that.
Well, I think though, the department heads are gonna be able to say, hey, my XYZ printer isn't listed,
Okay.
or, I still think the department heads need to give it
Okay,
a
that's
review.
Yeah.
Couldn't you request Solutions send each department a list and then they can just
I think
cross-reference?
Jen or Solutions already
Yes.
has a list,
I
cause
think
Jen
so,
put
too.
labels on all of our computers.
Yeah.
So I think they've already done an inventory on it, so they can keep track of it when
Yeah.
something is switched out.
And Jen
So
would have
someone
that.
has a list somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the questions that they sent to Jen, or we sent to Jen, was to provide that. Now, they also want information on stuff that's not necessarily labeled, like monitors, mouses, that kind of stuff. So they'll, like, for instance, the auditor's office has 2 screens, treasurer's office has 2 screens. So those are the kind of things that they kind of want to know, so there's an inventory. Now, having everything where they have to be logged into the network, that's the most important piece in my mind. The rest is just smaller detail stuff. I'm hoping that information was provided, or will be provided soon, to your point, so we can send it back to department heads, so they can get feedback on it.
Well, what if we have Jen provide it to each department head and you just simply cross-reference it and write in what isn't on it, or cross off what you no longer have? Wouldn't that work?
I know they don't do inventory of the keyboards and mice right now, because
No.
we've ordered our own,
Okay.
from our own budget for those.
Oh, okay.
And I think
Because we
Jen,
have laptops now, so they don't
Okay.
automatically come with those. But I've ordered my keyboards and mice through, Quill or Amazon or whatever it is, so.
Okay.
and I think Jen gave me one out of the closet somewhere that I've had all these years.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I didn't know you were doing that.
Is
It
that
should technically come
cheaper?
from IT.
Well, it's not like we're ordering them every other month or anything,
Okay.
I mean, I
Probably
can't,
had it for
couldn't
years.
tell you the last time I ordered a keyboard or a mouse. It was probably when the previous recorder was here. Maybe the same with other offices, I don't know what they do, but now that we have the laptops, those computers don't come with keyboards, and not in our office, for one, and probably yours too, we don't wanna work from the laptop, so.
It's easier to have the regular keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're $20.
How much?
And
They're
honestly,
very cheap.
Very, oh, okay, maybe it's cheaper to buy them that way.
and honestly, the amount of, we use our keyboards all the time over the front desk, so we are needing to replace the keyboards, because they don't make keyboards how they used to.
They don't make a lot of things like they used to.
As we like to say these days, and so we are having to replace them more often because the keys are sticking, and believe me, we've tried to save them, replace them as much as we can, and, but, yeah, and honestly, I bought my own and brought it in myself because I have a specific one. Aaron bought his own mouse and brought it in himself. I mean, we all kind of have our own likes, and so bring our own.
So-
So that isn't coming out of our a county budget, that's coming out of our own personal budget, so.
Because it's what you want.
Right, I mean, we're not asking the county to buy that, so.
Okay. Sheriff Barnes, how is this going to affect you? You're almost not at all. Okay.
We got our own little world out there that works.
Okay.
Well, I personally believe if you need a keyboard, it should come out of the IT budget, and you should be able to get that, what you need. That's my opinion, I mean,
Well, going forward, I prefer that.
yeah, I don't want anybody to have to pay out of pocket for tools to do your job.
Yeah,
So-
we should be providing those tools to you. So we can work through those kinks as we go on, you know, but like you said, it's not something you guys are replacing all the time. Well, maybe you are, cause you use it more, but you are, Brandy, it's one and done, so, okay. Regarding the inventory, I'm assuming she's working on it, I can follow up with her in Solutions to see where she's at.
And see if we can get that, you know, so what's the date, in advance of the 29th, we need to allow the department heads time, right, to review it and us to review it?
Now, keep in mind, if it's missing things like a printer and stuff, that's something that can be added, it's not critical to this timeline.
Okay.
But they wanted to make sure they had a full understanding of the critical details, which is the network connected hardware, software, and that kind of stuff. So Jen had, a while ago, had provided me a list of software, so I'm gonna forward that to what I have so they can start on that. But I don't have the hardware inventory at all.
Okay, so could we potentially ask for Jen to provide that by this Friday, given that it's a holiday week next week? That still only provides 2-3 days.
But you guys probably kind of know what you have, don't you? This won't take you very long, will it?
Well, I mean, depending on, like, at the ambulance garage, I don't know for sure, I'm not sure what, because we have, Oxen Technologies is our main, that's our main
Right.
go-to if something goes wrong with our stuff. But then for email, and I don't know what else Solutions does, cause I know I've had Oxen talk to Solutions.
They provide the network connectivity, the IP addresses.
So,
that type of
about, like I
stuff.
said, about the only thing we're gonna need is, like Mike said, if, you know, somebody loses their password or something, and by the state rate, we gotta have reports done within 24 hours. So that's something that, again, but that, it sounds like that's handled. I'm not sure what, nothing's been replaced there since I've been. So I don't even know what the longevity of a lot of that stuff is, you know, it still works. I mean, keyboard, I could definitely use the keyboard, but we make it work.
Okay.
But so, yeah, with stuff like that, I'm not sure, as far as inventory, do they need, if they just want serial numbers and, you know, of the computers and whatever, I can get all that, but like I said, I don't know what all they want.
No, they need what's something that's called a MAC address, an
Oh.
IP address.
Okay.
So that, and then, the type of, you know, technical detail for particular piece of
Sure.
hardware. So, that's something normally that Jen would provide or have access to. So, if it's true that she had an existing inventory, I can't imagine it's gonna be that difficult to provide if she's been updating it.
Sure.
But I'll follow up with her on that. So that, it sounds like regarding one of the questions, we have an answer. So quotes, auditor's office, shipping, department heads. Is that a good summary?
And you
Anybody
will
opposed to that?
And you will determine what you need, see if you have the budget, and go through the audit. Is that
Well, no,
correct?
it wouldn't come out of their budget, it comes out of the IT budget.
Okay, but they will determine their needs,
They'll
the
determine their
department
needs,
heads.
yes, and then when they send the quote to
Yeah.
the auditor's office, they're gonna look at the budget.
Sure.
And
Got
see,
it.
okay, we have enough money for another laptop, per se. So, speaking of that, one of the things that we would need a new laptop, say with a new hire. So if we have I know we haven't had a lot of new hires recently in a lot of our departments, but I know you're gonna be having one soon. So in that case, what happens is, and I talked to him about that, I know Jen purchased a bunch of new computers already from Solutions and were drop shipped to her. So what you would do is we would deliver that laptop, plug it into the network, you call Solutions and they basically walk you through. And they basically remote in and they do everything for you. So I know you do your own thing, But using you as an example for a new hire coming up, so that would be the process. So basically, the liaison would just be the physical hands that they need to do their work. So is anybody opposed to the department head being that liaison, or do they want someone internally to be that liaison, or you don't know yet? In the cases where you do need a physical person there to do something.
We'll talk, so.
Okay.
I would prefer it to be someone in each office, cause I don't wanna have to, I'm just gonna use an example, let's say you're this building's liaison, and she's not there that day, or she's not available, or she's crazy busy. I don't wanna bother her with that.
Okay.
So that's my take on it. I would rather not have to bother another office or wonder if maybe that person's on vacation or something like that.
So what you're saying is that in your office, you will determine who is that person that helps me get the address and plug it in, and is that what you're saying?
Yes, and
Yeah, okay,
I
so
think
you
the
would each
department head can
choose that
choose if
person.
it's them or if it's one of their
Sure.
staff members.
That's good.
In a lot of cases, it would be, you had, say you had a new hire. They could be on the phone with Solutions, it would just be someone else just setting it up, and then they can call it in. A lot of times, when I was in the private sector, that's kind of how it worked, is I got my laptop delivered to me, and I called our IT person, and they remoted in and set everything up. So I don't think I've ever met the IT staff that worked on computers in my previous employer. So that's actually what Solutions recommended, is that there be a single point of contact in each department. So, anyone else have feedback on that? What are your thoughts?
But we can delegate other individuals.
So, yeah, can we have 2 or 3, like in the
Yeah.
case of Mike, he
I'd like
needs
to have
3
3.
authorized people to submit requests, to accept hardware,
I
to,
mean, yeah, cause my guy, they work, 4896s, so.
Yeah,
To try
that
to
makes
space
sense.
it if I'm
So
gone.
let's say a laptop gets broken. How long will it take for them to ship one? Will they overnight it? That's really expensive.
But we have ones right now.
Yeah, how many does she have
I
extra?
think she purchased 5 new ones.
So she has 5 new ones.
I'll check with her, but is that, do you know offhand, or, was it, I thought it was 5.
I don't know, I've seen 3 things come through, but I don't know about 5.
Okay, for sure.
so can we maintain that level, or 3, or, whatever the magic number is? And, so if we, if somebody has a need, they can take from that inventory, get it right away, get it set up faster, and then a request to Solutions to backfill and replace it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We can do
Okay.
that.
How, do you guys want to rotate out your laptops, or do you just keep them till they die?
I think that probably depends on the office, but I was thinking that Jen had them on a 5-year schedule or something with Solutions, 4 or 5 year schedule. Yeah. I think on the inventory list, I've seen it before, I think it even has a date on when that person acquired that piece of equipment too, so.
What we don't want is, because laptops sunset very quickly, is not have a huge backup inventory.
Right.
Because we don't want to purchase a
Right.
computer and then not have need, and then it's already outdated.
I wonder if we should take the 5 and use 2, but just keep it at 3?
Yeah.
3
What do you
backup
guys think?
laptops?
3 extras?
I mean, I'm gonna be really honest, I would love to have, currently, I am waiting on 2 laptops in our office to get back.
We need to get, we need to get back.
We are waiting on 2. Angie is, waiting to get her laptop back.
Back from
It's-
where?
It's been gone for a while,
Gone where?
at Solutions, so,
I don't think we ship laptops to Solutions.
well, we did.
You
It's been
shipped it
gone
to
for
her?
a while.
Didn't she give you a replacement?
No, we had one in our office that was used in the driver's license side. So I took that one and called Solutions, and we got that one set up for Angie. She doesn't have hardly anything on her, that computer, just the very minimum.
Is it for
so,
Angie, who else is it for?
The other laptop that we had was for my part-time person, and,
Okay.
we've never gotten it back. So, right now, we are I'm not saying that she needs that all the time, but it would sure be nice when she was here. This last week, she's not here this week, but when she comes back next week, that she would have a laptop, cause she sure could have used it.
So you're
So
down
what-
2 laptops, for how long?
So what does Jen say as to what the reason why?
I don't. I honestly don't. But the thing is that in our office, it would be great to have just an extra laptop with the programs that we need on it,
Mm-hmm.
because it takes forever to get them downloaded. It takes forever just to get a laptop. I mean, I'm just being honest.
No,
Okay,
that's great.
I mean, so if we just had an extra laptop, I know that seems kind of like a waste,
No,
but.
You guys do a lot of stuff there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So just having one sitting there in our office would be fantastic.
okay.
Because, I mean, Angie's, we literally came in that day and her screen was black.
The black screen of death.
And it's, yeah, and it wasn't like it was 5 years old, it's not like it was 4 years old, it was one of the new ones, so. I
So
don't-
how long has Jenny been without it? About a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Months.
Months.
have you called Solutions and said, what are you guys doing?
Well, Solutions doesn't, they just ship the laptops, they don't,
Well, she said she sent them to Solutions, correct? And they've never given them back?
Right.
what does Jen say? She's our
I
single
really don't
point.
know, it's a combination thing, so I don't know, I just kind of.
All right,
Why don't you reach out to Jen and get this going? It
Yeah.
goes back.
So, but then my other concern also that we've had in our office are monitors. Are we gonna have extra monitors? Because monitors tend to go out like that in our office.
Okay.
So that's another IT thing for us,
We struggle with monitors too. I think it would be a good idea
Have
to
some
have
backup monitors?
backup
Yes.
monitors as
Okay.
well.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
Angie, one of my staff members just got a new one within the last year and it's glitching.
yeah, they just like glitch and they go like dark and then all of a
Or they
sudden they're
yeah,
gone.
that's- Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
China.
that's right. I
Yeah.
think so, they're China.
Yeah, we're John.
So I think we're all in agreement, we wanna make sure we have inventory.
Yeah.
Laptops,
Monitors. What other
monitors.
stuff would you say would need?
Where is all this stuff going to be stored and will we have access to it when we need it?
Well, it
Well-
needs to be in a lockup.
It'll be locked up, we haven't determined that yet. I think probably we have a lot of space in that room there, we could probably put our IT stuff in there. It's temperature controlled. But probably, like say for instance, your monitor goes out.
Yeah.
We could call the auditor's office, they can come and grab you a monitor and deliver it to you, or your liaison can do that.
You'd have to have an inventory of what you took
Correct.
and when you took it.
So that inventory list is gonna be maintained in the auditor's office then? Of what we have and knowing what's coming and going?
Yes.
And by who?
I would do both. I'd have an inventory list in here, you check, you took this, and then cross them.
Well, I
reference it with them.
think it should be, we don't wanna have multiple people, we wanna make sure there's a
I
single
mean,
point.
I mean, a list in each room. In here, as I go in and I get a monitor, and I wrote Diane Fitch, took a monitor at time and date, and then that goes, they would know that too, so you would know both.
So, but right now, I mean, everything that we have is in Jen's office.
Yeah.
So I think right at this point, until we do our efficiency evaluation of offices and stuff like that, I think that's a good spot to keep everything in. It's right across from the auditor's office. So I think that would, from an efficiency standpoint, that would probably be the best, is to keep them in there for now, until we come up with a different plan.
What if, and I don't know how Kelly feels about this, but what if HR, if that equipment was managed by HR as far as just if somebody needs something, they go to HR, I need this piece of equipment. We need a keeper of, right, what's there and where it's gone.
She's got, now she's on all of her insurance, I don't know, do you have time?
I think the auditor's holding the budget for
I
it,
think
I
so,
think
too.
they should be responsible
I
for it.
think she'd be the auditor.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair enough.
okay, so,
Susan, how are you out there?
I mean, we manage our stuff. I've always went through Jen, but I'm agreeable to do it. The only problems I have are, I had to have a factory reset of my computer. They brought everything back up. It was working fine. 4 weeks ago, I needed to have my VPN access because I was at training and needed it. They didn't put all of the information in, so I could not use my computer off-site. I contacted Jen. Jen put in a ticket with solutions. It took them 3 weeks to get back to me, and that is only after I left them a nasty message, because that I can't have that,
Now, were you remote?
especially being the only person.
Were you remote at the time when you were asking for the VPN, or were you in the office?
She's in the,
I was in the office when I talked with Jen,
Okay,
so
okay.
I
So they weren't
didn't-
trying to download it when you were off-site?
No,
Okay.
you're rarely off-site, aren't you?
rarely. The reason I was off-site was I was doing some lead training, so,
When was
and that was in
this?
Ankeny.
How long ago was this?
I've been doing lead training for 5 weeks, so it's been about 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Took them a while to get my VPN too, about a month.
About a month after we approved it?
Yeah, and I had to keep reaching out to Jen, she kept sending them emails back and forth.
Okay. All right, well, now you get to call them directly.
Sean,
When you
how
did
are-
work with them, I mean, they were pleasant, you got it done.
How are you, Sean? Is this,
From a hardware standpoint, we haven't really had any issues. We have had a couple monitors go down this past year. They're still in our office because we don't know where to send them to, the old ones. I think from software side, that's where we have more issues jumping through the hoops with the internal gatekeepers versus solutions and Vanguard that we use. So hopefully we can get that worked out as we go to the centralized format there anyways. But other than that, from an IT standpoint, we haven't really had any issues per se.
old equipment, like, let's say that monitor shop, will Solutions take them back? Because it's a cost if you take them somewhere. Jen and I did find a company in Olathe, Kansas, that would come and pick up all this stuff for free, because landfills don't want them. 'Cause it's got nasties in
They'll
it.
cost money to ship it back to them.
So what do we
So-
do with the broken old stuff? It's obsolete.
We'll have to figure out how to dispose of them.
Monitors, yeah, we can recycle those, but the laptops we wanna be real careful with, right?
Correct.
Because it's
Yeah,
sensitive data.
Correct.
Well, and then there's, no, it's stuff, now you'll take some of it, right? We'll let you pick what you want.
Mike's gonna get all of it. Just call him Scrapper.
That's what we do.
So we solved that, just.
No, no.
I'll find a place for it. Don't ask.
Buried on some kind of gravel over.
In the private sector, they actually hire companies to come and take them all, because they pull all the
Got the copper and all this stuff.
everything out of that, but there's a cost to that.
Yeah, right.
So I think what we can investigate is how we get rid of those, because we don't wanna just toss them in the landfill.
We'll see if Jen still has that Olathe, if they come and get all this for free, then, if what you don't want.
Would any local computer repair stores just take them?
Yeah, we might be able to find a local
Maybe,
company.
we can maybe find somebody. That
See, I
was
think
the
See
only
if
one
they could
we found.
redonate them to the school or something? if they
No,
fix it?
schools, they won't take them anymore, they used to. When I worked for the feds, they would take stuff, the feds would wipe it clean and they'd give it to them, they don't want
So,
it
I mean, how,
anymore.
is there a way to wipe all that stuff?
Well, they used to, I don't know, when I
Well,
worked for the
with
feds,
the
they
wiping
wiped
of the
it.
laptops, that's a completely different animal, so that would probably be done by Solutions remotely.
Okay.
Yes, regarding monitors and old equipment, I'm assuming it's old equipment and you're not using it, it's because it's broken?
It's broken, yes.
Okay, so no one's gonna want it,
Correct.
so we'll need to dispose of it, so we'll need to figure out how to.
That could
dispose.
probably just go to the dumpster. It's just it's the monitor, it doesn't have anything like the bad stuff does.
I know that, residents and businesses can do that, but as a government entity, we wanna be careful that we're okay doing that.
I think we take monitors for landfill, we just don't take.
As the county does?
Yeah, I think they'll take them. The laptops and things we could take on the toxic waste day, can we take them then? We've never been.
Check those. I wouldn't suggest.
Laptops, I wouldn't dispose like that,
I wouldn't take them.
we need to have those professionally done. But I don't know if we're at that place yet, but when we start recycling or
Something we need to think about.
replacing old laptops, that'll be a conversation we can have. So, Okay,
Mike
so,
was gonna say something.
Yeah. I don't have time to do it. I'll make a suggestion. I'm sure the state of Iowa already has contractual contracts with companies who recycle monitors, that type of stuff, once it's been securely wiped. I would reach out to the state. I'm sure the colleges have contracts for that. They're already bid, that you could able to get a price per ton or truckload to get rid of that stuff.
Could we
Because there are
partner?
companies that take that stuff and refine the fine metals out of it, that type of stuff. That would be, somebody's gonna have to make the contact, but I'm sure that's already in place.
yeah, you're right.
And we wouldn't have to, do that, so, but you guys do.
So who the state uses and we could go with
Yeah.
it? Okay, thanks, Mom.
So it sounds like the two items that the board wanted to seek input from the department heads have been, we've gotten feedback, is for quoting and ordering, go to the auditor, and then it was shipped or sent to the department head. And then for the IT liaison, have one or more people designated per department. Am I understanding all that correctly?
And
Okay.
you're all okay with this?
So what I'll do is I will ask Solutions to provide us a template format that they prefer, and then I'll send it out to department heads to fill out. So what we'll need is the person's name, email, and phone number, and that way we can get that to them. So I know the auditor's office is going through some changes, so this is gonna be additional responsibilities on the office. I don't expect there gonna be a huge rush of new equipment requests at this point. I will circle back with Jen and Solutions on the outstanding laptops and where they're at. But I don't expect this to be an immediate additional burden to you guys, other than starting July 1, the budget's gonna be maintained by the auditor's office. Okay, so the slight change is gonna come to you guys to order, just like they do with Amazon for my monitor broke, or I need a new mouse, or something like that, and then you would just be shipping it to them. Okay. But you would still do the claims under the IT budget.
Okay.
So those are the two things from the onboarding process that Solutions asked us to seek your input on. And is there any other questions that you guys may have?
Well, I have an issue that I know that I've talked with several of you about, a lot of concern about just responsiveness, from Solutions. And I wondered if we could, I know the contract is lengthy, I wonder if we could take key parts or highlight key parts to share with the department heads and make sure they have the information regarding the different urgency levels and how to communicate, hey, listen, I got an employee down, I need this yesterday. Just to kind of help, put a bow on that of information for you all. What do you guys think of that?
So
Just
keep
kinda
in mind,
summarizing.
there's two different houses of Solutions. There's the application side, which handles all the software side for the treasurer's office, the auditor's office. That's one separate support team, completely different. The other side is the managed services side, which would handle, hey, my computer's not working, hey, I need VPN, hey, my Adobe software license is expired, I need you to update it, I have the black screen of death, can you help me with that? That kind of password resets, that kind of stuff. So that is a completely different technical team. And the responsiveness is different on the current plan we have versus the gold plan we
But
have.
Jess is, like she's saying, they're saying it takes 5 weeks, that's an issue.
Oh, no, that's an issue, you're absolutely right. That's
It's
an
not
issue.
always 5 weeks, but
Jess is
I
right.
think when they get a ticket in for something that's wrong, which most of the time that we're contacting them, it's a computer issue. It's not necessarily an application problem.
Okay.
It's something with the PCs. They prioritize it based on if they think it's high priority or not.
Okay.
So, but there has been a lot of issues, and I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but there's times where we see that a ticket is created, that they've seen our post, and we don't hear from them for 3 or 4 days.
Can
I
you
don't
give an
know,
exa-
it
give an
doesn't feel
example?
like it's going to be a magic change just because we're changing, the plan plans that we have with them. I hope it is, but there are times we don't have 3 or 4 days to wait. We need to have someone working on it. So I feel like that needs to be addressed with solutions, that if we're going to spend this money on this IT outsourcing, we need to have them be reliable for us, because it's a big deal if we are not working.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why we only have a 1-year contract, is because if they're finding that this doesn't work, then we're not stuck with that.
Yeah.
So, can you give me an example though, for like something?
Give us like what you would call and say to them.
Can you give us an
We
example?
don't ever call. You email their support at harriscomputer.com. A lot of times you'll get a ticket number really, really quickly, and sometimes they'll call right away or email back right away, but there are times where it's a few days before you hear from them.
Okay, can you give an example of something that you
Well, it happens
asked?
all the time. I don't have anything specific. We have document locator issues sometimes where an image isn't popping up. I mean, there's so many different pieces that, I mean, I could probably I can go back and forward you probably 60 emails of tickets if you'd like.
No,
But we use it a lot. We have a ticket a lot. I don't know about other offices, but I feel like there's always something that, just this morning, we put in 2 different tickets for stuff that was happening with our computers.
So are you gonna use that 8 hours a month in your one office?
Probably.
No, 8 hours is for on-site. It's unlimited for calls, emails, all that stuff. So the 8 hours is only if you need someone here physically to do something. So, but yeah, it's unlimited.
That would be my biggest concern, is that we're not, the things that are gonna be high priority get taken care of right away. I know you can't be shut down either, so, and probably most offices, I'm not trying to include
So,
everybody.
what I would ask you to do is keep us informed of any issues we have going forward. I mean, when they take over, and let us know, hey, I'm down, or I need this, or whatever, are not being done, so we have that information, and we can contact them and say, hey, you know, the contract says this is what's happening. Is there a misunderstanding? Is there a problem? What's going on? So, that's crucial for us to know that as we go, so I can give them examples of, here's a ticket was sent, here's the first response, here's when it was resolved. Because if I can't give them examples, then it's gonna be hard for them to address the problem. So I'm gonna kind of rely on you guys to keep us informed on that, so we can go back, and I can talk to you about that.
Can't they go directly to them?
Well,
They-
if you just have the ticket number, Solutions can look it up by the ticket
Yes, they
number,
can
so
look
you
it up.
don't need all the emails or anything.
So if you would be open to doing that way we can get back to them and say, hey, you told me this, or the contract says this is what's happening, this is not acceptable, or, okay, we misunderstood. So we just need you guys to communicate with us going forward because of this change, so we can be more effective on addressing issues that are delayed. So,
Do we have a main point of contact, a representative, if you will? Okay, can we share that?
right now, I have just the person that is the engineer. He probably would not be the person that would be our single point, but I can find that out.
Okay.
This would be dedicated to our account.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you guys could email us the contract?
Yeah,
Okay. I know that it was in the agenda at one point in time.
yeah, it was in the packet.
Does that go into effect July 1st? Is that when that's?
It'll go, technically, it's gonna go into effect June 13th, because
Okay.
that's Jed's last day. But the billing will start July 1st. So,
So for just software, like, for example, if someone needs just to download Adobe or something like that, are they just managing that themselves? And
no, that would be something that.
all of it's through
All
Solutions?
through Solutions.
We're limited on Adobe, aren't we? Not everyone has it because it's a cost. So how many have Adobe? I know that one, and then the board clerk did. Yeah, you do, but that's all, isn't it? 'Cause it's relatively expensive.
Because yes, with each license you have to pay Adobe a license for
Yeah.
each user.
Yeah, so we've limited that in the past on who really needs it.
So do we need someone, and I'm happy to serve in this capacity, and I don't know if it makes sense to have department heads too, but, we may need a physical person if we need to reset the server, right? Or the phone, do something with the phones, anything like that. If we need a physical person for that, how are we gonna navigate that?
Well, they said they would choose one in each department.
Yes.
So then can we have a training with the department heads and their appointed people
And to bounce
and
off.
us?
Well, there's no training per se, it's just you call solutions and they walk you through how to do it. There's no, we're not gonna be, the idea is, we don't want our folks to be IT people.
Right.
They're just gonna be the hands.
So
to do
solution
stuff.
says, gee, I need somebody to go down to the basement and reset the server.
Yes, go down there and I'll tell you this
And they're
blinking
gonna
red
lock
button,
that
push
person.
on that, yes.
Whoever contacts them,
How
they're
do
gonna
you
lock
decide
that
who
person.
that person's gonna be if it's a county-wide issue?
If
Right.
it's a county-wide issue,
Like,
Right.
let's say the server just crashes, how do they decide who that person is going to be that does
Right.
that?
well, they'll probably call the auditor's office or they'll call us. They need a physical person, so whoever's available can do it. Now, because of my IT background, I'm fine, to your point, I can volunteer for that, and I'll be happy to do that, because I'm used to just handling servers and racks.
But what if you're not here, then what happens?
I would recommend, just cause I live in Winterset and you guys don't, you know, I'm happy to be that first point of contact as far as that goes. If there's something that needs to be reset, but there's no reason why, like we talked about, you know, a department head or anybody who's available that, hey, we got this problem here.
Technically, it doesn't have to be an IT contact, it can be anybody who's physically available can go in there and.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna throw this out. The other night, I was working real late, I was here till 8:30, the server went down. So it was like 6:30 at night at that point in time, and I was like, are you kidding me? I really wanna keep working. So at that point, thankfully, 15 minutes later, it came back up, so I could continue to work till 8:30, but at that point, if it didn't come back up, I would have called, and, you know.
So you would have just gone down yourself and done what they said?
But that's
Okay.
what I'm saying, in that moment, I would like to be able to restart it.
So what you're saying is that if Ryan's here late and if the server goes down, Ryan should just be able to go in and they walk him through it and he fixes it.
Right, or I should be able to walk in and fix it if I'm here.
So you don't want, am I hearing, you don't want a designated person, you just want to get it done?
Right.
Okay.
But we still need our list of
You
authorized.
still need a person to call.
Yeah.
But in your case, if you call Solutions and you're the only one in the building.
Right.
You theoretically go, now, that door's locked,
Exactly.
so, you know, we'd have to work through that. But it may not have been that server, it could be the server in the courthouse.
Right, and if that was it, then I would accept and go home, Patty.
So, but right now, I mean, we do not have 24/7 support, so right now, what would have happened?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
So-
saying,
So that's a good example to where by having 24/7 support, you could keep working, whereas now, you would have to stop, because there'd be no on-site support, there'd be no solution support, because there's no 24/7 support.
So if they can't fix it themselves, you've offered to come and do it, so if they can't fix it, then you could back up and call Jess. How does that sound?
Or, you know, there's a problem and shoot, I don't have anybody on site, but we need to be able to rock and roll tomorrow morning. I'll come down and do what I need to do, that's fine.
Because you're close.
Cause I'm close, yeah. So, yeah, I'm happy to be a backup for that stuff, but the reality is, the department head, if you encounter a problem, you're gonna know about it first and be in the best position to.
Now, probably what happened, just so you know, a lot of times they do their backups and application software updates after hours. That shuts down the server for a small point in time and then brings it back up. So it could be that you were in that window to where they were doing a software update. So that usually 7, 8 o'clock is usually when it's done. So that's probably what happened. But you're right, you need to have that power to do that if you wanna continue working, otherwise you'd have to stop working.
right.
So really, the department heads are gonna need a key to the server rooms.
So, you also touched on phones, Jess, and that's another big thing, sorry to keep going, but
It's okay.
No,
IT
please.
is a big thing for my department. So, phones have been a very big thing for the treasurer's office, as most of you all know, and rants and raves. How do I, where are we going with phones?
So,
what?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why does no one ever answer your phone? Why
Well,
can't you just
okay,
get
we,
the
It's, no, I would love to answer
Okay.
this question, because it's a very good answer. Because right now, I'm in my office, and that is where I am, and right now, at this point in time, I will not answer phones, because I'm digging us all out of a hole, as we all know, and I'm working my butt off, happily working my butt off, and I love it. I really do, because I love this county. I really do, and I will gladly do it, gladly. And so I'm in my office, and I'm sorry I will not answer the phones, because if I answer the phones, then I will be on the phone for 10 minutes, and then I don't get that next job done. So I'm sorry. Then I have Angie Ford, or Carrie, or Aaron. Someone, one of those, either Angie or Aaron, is over in driver's license, and they are rocking their jobs over there, so they can't answer the phone. So then I have either Carrie or whoever's not at driver's license, and most of the time, they're up at the counter. So I can't have the phone answered,
Would
because
it
they
help-
are at the counter.
So if people leave a message though, you're returning
Yes.
calls? Okay.
People leave a message, once they are able to sit down for the day, they will go to the messages and they will listen to the messages and they will call people back. But if people are calling, then they can't listen to those voicemails. But at 4:30, when our door shuts, they will listen to those voicemails and they will call people back even after 4:30. So, that is seriously 100% the honest truth. We would love to be able to answer the phone every single time. We just can't. It's humanly not possible. I mean,
And there've been a lot of phone issues, and what was the cause of it? Was it just a MediaCom issue on their end?
in the last year, there have been times that people have left messages to a line that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
There was a message to a voicemail box that we had no idea we had.
Yep, I found that one.
I mean,
Yeah,
there
was
was.
a ghost voicemail box that was taking messages, but it wasn't connecting and wasn't, so they had no idea that there was
Right.
messages in there.
I
So,
don't make this stuff up, so.
To answer your question about phone support, that is actually something I asked them, because I know that's important.
Yeah.
And these are Cisco phones, so they can provide phone support, they would just need an inventory of all those, and also the carriers involved, so in this case, MediaCom. So we would have to add solutions as an authorized party to make calls to the carrier on their behalf. So those are the things that's part of the list of questions that has been sent to Jen to provide that information. That's something I'm working on, part of a different project, to reduce the cost of our internet phone service, is to get access to all that information too, and build a network inventory of our telecom. So, but I don't have access to like billing and that kind of thing, so those contacts would have to be given to Solutions as part of the process. So they are more than happy to take that over. That's not something they do right now, but as part of our new IT administrator, that's something they're gonna do going forward. So,
So are we due for an upgrade potentially, phone system?
well, I think the treasurer's office might want one.
But your phones work, you just don't have the, what would happen if I worked in a really busy office, and the phone would ring, and I really technically had to answer the phone per the state by the third ring.
Yep.
That was the rule. I had to answer that phone by the third ring. So I had to count a person at the counter. I would say, excuse me for 1 second. I'd run back and answer the phone, say, ask their name and number, get it back, and I'll call you right back. No one was ever mad because it got a human voice. I finished can we look at something like that? It just and no one gets mad if you say, look, let me answer the phone, and I'll get right back would that work? Because it frustrates people when nobody answers the phone.
It's hard, I mean, I see it, they're busy. I can see why they can't answer them all the time. I
Okay.
know it's
So it
hard
wouldn't
as a
work.
customer, but I see it and they're working their tails off, and I've heard a lot of positive comments coming for that office.
Oh, I have too.
But I mean, just being right there, I can see Aaron and Angie working their butts off in DOT, and the other two are always at the counter. Sometimes she's out at the counter doing it too. So I can see why you can't pick up the phone every single time, because walk-ins come and go.
Could you, sir, ask someone if, some elderly person, if they wanna answer the phone, or they take a message?
But a lot of times, like, when people do call, they wanna book an appointment, they have DOT questions, they have tax questions, and that's all stuff that we, you know, like, when Anna's there, she does answer the phone, but, you know, she just does exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, she writes down, you know, the name and number, and we will get back to her, or get back to them, I should say. So, and once I get us back on track, I will gladly answer that, gladly. So it will change, we'll get there, but just right now, it's just not.
We're basically down a person right now.
I know
Yeah.
all that. I just
Yeah.
think when people hear the human voice,
I know.
it does.
And
It's just
I really, I'm that way too. I mean, I came from, you answer that phone after one ring.
Yeah,
I mean, that is seriously what I came from. It was after 2 rings and it was like,
yeah.
you know, so
I have to, yeah.
I get it. I really do.
I do too. But yours sounds like you're getting better, so you'll figure it out.
So the phones are actually provided by MediaCom as part of the telecom product that we have. We have voice over IP with them. So in order to change phone systems out, we'd have to go through MediaCom. So if you're continue to have issues going forward, that'd be something we would go through solutions with. Now, there's probably gonna be a, learning curve, transition, that type of stuff. I'm more than happy to help you with that, because that was my world previous to this. So we can talk about that, but in the past, it was solely through MediaCom or Jen managed it. So, but that should be something that hopefully moving forward, you won't have as much pain with getting support, because they'll go directly to the carrier on that.
Now, with public health, we have our own phone system, and it is through CenturyLink, and then Omnitel provides our phones and our phone service. So if we have issues, we go through them.
Are you finding that Omnitel, I've had it forever, so we've had high-speed internet forever, but is that better? Or can you tell yet?
I've only had to deal with them a couple times, so.
So that's good to know, because that's probably something that we're gonna have to discuss. If selling the public health building and moving into courthouse, you'll probably move from them to MediaCom. So, we can keep the same numbers, they port, that's gonna be part of the process as well.
How many phone lines are over at CICS? Or actual phone lines into the office? Do you know?
You mean copper pair? Oh, that I don't know.
That'd be a
But the,
Should be sufficient though to,
Well-
maybe 3 people from public health and VA, so.
right, yeah, it should be sufficient.
So will the auditor's office handle the phone, billing also?
Or will it have to be under?
Well, if the billing how you handle billing will not change. So everything,
I don't handle billing at all for phone systems.
So
I'm just
Jen
making
covered
sure
it
it's not gonna change
For them,
that.
I know.
so if the bills went through, if you did a claims thing for a phone bill, then that would continue.
But
If it
you
went
don't-
to Jen, then it would be managed out as a regular bill that would come into the auditor's office.
Okay, that was my question.
So who manages your phone bill now? Jen?
I would assume so. I
Yeah,
don't-
so it all goes under Jen.
So all billing would go through there, just
So it'll
like
go through the auditor then?
under the LT. But I have seen claims from other offices
Yeah.
for phone bills. So some offices do
Yeah,
claims.
yeah. And the
Example.
sheriff.
Yeah.
Example, weed
Sure.
department
Yeah.
has a cell phone that they fill out a claim and submit to the auditor's office.
We do our own phone, and it's MediaCom and it's down, half the time.
I know.
Are you still tracking that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cause I wanna get out of that contract so we can
But
go to a different provider.
Isn't Omnitel going to a?
Omnitel wants to bring, fiber to us, and it's gonna be way cheaper, but we're under that contract. Yeah, we're still
It's
tracking.
$75,000 to break the contract.
Oh, well, we won't break it.
So unless we
Well-
have cause.
It's, our
then we
internet,
have-
our internet and phones are out.
Yes.
I
So
know.
You're building the case for cause.
we're busy, building a case for
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah,
and
you
that's why.
document all that. so we-
Well, I wish I would've started
That's
sooner,
hard,
but
though.
I've got a bunch just for
Well,
the
we
month
didn't
of,
know.
just for the month of April, it was like 5 or 6 times.
Now, the landfill got Omnitel, I don't know how they scored that, but.
Yeah, it'll be good once they get.
So overall, that's
Well,
something we wanna look at and dive into, internet, phones, and definitely be addressing that in the future, right?
Yeah.
And figure out what we need.
And we've been working on that, cause it's,
So, okay. I think, is there any other concerns or questions?
yeah, what do you guys have to say?
Department heads? Any concerns or questions?
On, like, the software, I'm not a computer guy, so, if they do, like I said, the licenses do expire or whatever, Jen kept track of all that stuff. I'm not gonna know,
No, that's not gonna be your job.
like I said, I'm not gonna know when my license is gonna expire or for my guy, So that still
shouldn't have
won't
to
be
worry
on
about
us,
that.
that'll be,
No.
okay.
So my understanding is that, Solutions proactively also contacted Jen saying, hey, your software licenses are expiring.
Okay.
That type of stuff. So it was a symbiotic thing to
Sure.
where, and I like, that having that double checking was good. But yeah, you don't have to worry about
Okay.
that.
Well, yeah,
So,
as long as
again,
it's-
nothing really is going to change much other than some of the housekeeping stuff, how we handle bills, and who to go to. And please keep the board apprised of any hiccups or concerns or something that you would like changed, because then we can go to Solutions to request that. And again, if it doesn't work out and it's not worth the savings, then we can revisit this situation.
And if I understand, there are 2 companies, in the state that manages this type of system and works with governments and this type of software, is that
For
correct?
the software
The
for the
software.
government software, but managed services is not, can be, technically can be offered by multiple different companies, not just those 2. It's just what we like is because they have visibility into that, it's a lot easier to be symbiotic, because they have people that they can talk to. And yes, only those 2 companies do those the computer applications that all local government uses.
Yeah.
So we're kind of limited on that.
Hence why, it's not just an RFP to explore this. We have 2 choices, and we already have a relationship with Solutions. Just kind of trying to go back and explain why, we pursued this with Solutions. Yeah. And then regarding we need to get, of course, kind of lay this out, get the contact list and authorization list, who's authorized, from what departments. We're gonna need to get hard keys for the server rooms for all the department heads.
Do you want hard keys or do you want to hide a key? You guys could hide a key.
Well, we do that for when we post, like, when we post our agendas.
We hide a key.
We hide a key.
Maybe they could just hide a key. Let them decide. If they want to hide a key, they can. And then they don't have a
Rather
whole
than have
bunch of
multiple keys
keys.
all over the place.
I don't want a
Hide
lot
a
of
key,
keys.
what do you mean? Like in this area, by the
They'll
server
have a
rooms?
place to put it, like we have our
Like, we
key.
have a designated place for the keys for the, where we post notices. There's a designated key that people use to unlock that cabinet. But we don't issue keys to everybody.
Uh-huh.
So the same idea would be the server. We'd have to talk about, I'm gonna go to them and ask their recommendations, because it is a security thing. We wanna make sure there's not a bunch of keys floating around.
Well, and maybe we can get into the 20th century and actually do card access or something too on that door.
Or we can
Something to
change it
think
to a
about.
push button.
Yeah, they're literally, code, you push a code in, and then everybody has their own, each department has their own unique code. That's something to explore.
Key would be cheaper. It's up to you. What do you guys think? You're the one that.
Well, we can also
How many server rooms are there, just 2?
There's
2 locks probably isn't gonna be that much.
I don't care whatever works for you.
So we'll
I should
continue,
never need it.
we'll continue to work through the
Yeah.
transition.
So we probably need another meeting to work through as we work through these issues, then, right?
I think we got most of it settled, I think we got most of it settled. The other stuff will come up as things go along. And so, as long as folks keep us abreast of issues, or, hey, I made this suggestion, but it costs, if we did this, it would cost extra money, would you consider it, that kind of stuff. Because that's the kind of feedback we like too. If you guys find software or things that can make your job easier or more efficient, please let the board know. Because if we can make it to where it takes less time to do something, or get less people to do something, we could consider that software. But that, we're not gonna know that. You guys are the experts, so you need to let us know that. So in this process, you may come across that, hey, this would be great if we could do this, but we don't have the budget for it. Can we talk about that? So, we're open to that.
So just for my knowledge, so Jen covers right now my Adobe and my QuickBooks. That will all be handled through Solutions.
Correct.
I won't see a bill. It'll go to the auditor then?
Because right now that comes out of her budget, and she handles it on her budget. Nothing with that is gonna change.
I would request that if decisions are getting made or things are changing with what's going on with Solutions, that the department heads get copied in on the emails too. So we are kept up to date, because all of these decisions affect all of us. I know you guys get to make the final say, but I feel like we need to have input on it too. So I would appreciate to be copied in on the emails. I assume other department heads would like to be kept up to date on it too.
So I'll go ahead and send you, the contract copy. Again, it was in the board packet, so you guys could look at it now, if you want. But I can go ahead and send that to you. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries, we are adjourned.